So the orange group is working on multi-step equations. This is our first day. And today is August 16th, 2021. Please make sure that you write the learning target and success criteria down on the opening and closing sheet. Our learning targets will learn how to solve problems using right triangle, involving right triangles using Pythagorean theorem, and then I can solve multi-step equations. This is our success criteria. I can use distributive properties. I can isolate the variable, and I can use inverse operations. So your warm up for today, guys, they gave you two sets of equations. They asked you to highlight the error, so figure out and basically explain where the mistake was, and then go back and actually solve the equation. So we have x minus 45 is equal to a negative 27. And then question two, we have negative 8x is equal to a negative 96. Again, explain where they went wrong, and then go back and solve the equation to get the correct answer. The vocabulary for today in this lesson is distributive properties graphic organizer. So please make sure that you add distributive properties to your notes. The definition is right here. It says to multiply sum or difference by a number, multiply each number in the sum or difference by the number outside of parentheses, and then evaluate. They gave you several examples. Here we have 2 on the outside of parentheses, and inside we have 4 plus 3. Distributive properties say I can multiply 2 times 4 as well as 2 times 3, and then add the values together. They gave you the example algebraically, where we have a on the outside of the parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we have b plus c. So we multiply a times b, and then a times c. And finally, they gave us just straight multiplication. We have 12 times 52. They wanted them to do it using mental math. So we got 12 times 50 plus 12 times 2, which will give you the same answer. It's just multiplying straight across. Please make sure that you add this graphic organizer in your notes, guys. Remember, we have notebook checks on Friday. Here are the 5 steps for solving equations. And I just realized this is supposed to say multi-step, so I do apologize. But this is supposed to be steps for solving a multi-step equation. Right here. Okay, so step 1, it says use distributive property, and I gave you an example here. Step 2, it says then combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign of the equation. Oh Lord, hold on one second. Let me get back to the slide. Combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign of the equation. All the other words that are underlined, guys, are vocabulary words I gave out last week. And if you need to go back and acquire these vocab words, please make sure you go back to the two-step equation video that's under assignments. Step 3 says combine variables on the opposite side of the equal sign by using inverse operations. Step 4 says isolate the variable by adding or subtracting the constants. And then finally, step 5 says multiply or divide by the coefficient or multiply by the reciprocal. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and again, if you want the solution to the teacher do slides, please make sure that you watch the video for this PowerPoint, which is what I'm recording now. So I have several examples that I'm going to go through with you guys. Again, if you choose to do the work online, all you will have to do is click the draw tab. And sometimes it takes a minute to come up. So let's go back. You can click the draw tab, and then you can click on the pen. If you want, you can select a different pen color as well. So in this example, I have 1/2 times 40m plus 10 is equal to 15. So the very first thing it says is to use the distributive properties. Okay. So in order to do that, step 1, I'm going to go ahead and multiply 1/2 to the inside of my parentheses. So, which means it's the same thing as saying I'm dividing by 2. So I have 40 divided by 2, which will give me 20. And then I have 10 divided by 2, and this will give me 5. And then this whole thing is equal to 15. Okay. Now step 2 say combine the variables or the constants, but we can't do that. So it's nothing on the left side or the right side can be combined. And then it also say use inverse operations. So from here, I'm now going to use the inverse operation. Remember, I want to isolate my variable. So this 20m is the piece I'm trying to isolate or get by itself. In order to do that, the inverse of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 5 on both sides. I'm bringing down my variable because I haven't done anything with it. So I'm left with 20m. Positive 5 and negative 5 will cancel. And then this is just equal to 10. So now let's go back and look at the steps. Isolate the variable by adding and subtracting the constants, which is what I just did step 4. And then step 5, say multiply or divide coefficients or reciprocals. So now I'm on step 5. I want to get m by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by 20. Guys, anytime you have a fraction, please make sure that you always simplify your answer. So let's find out what my answer is going to be. If I don't know how to simplify this fraction, remember that you guys can use Desmos calculator. I will open up a new web browser, type in desmos.com. It will take me straight to the Desmos website. I will click Math Tools. The drop down will appear, and then I will click Scientific Calculator. So let's go back to the example. We have 10 over 20. I'm literally just going to type in 10 divided by 20. You can do it that way from the calculator. From the keyboard, or you can hit the AB button if you want to use fractions, guys. If you want to rewrite this as or convert this to a decimal, you can click here, and it'll give you the decimal form, which is also 1/2. So in this case, my answer is 1/2. And again, if you do the mental way, the zeros will just cancel. And so again, m is equal to just 1/2. That's the first example on the teacher do slides. The next example I'm giving is 10y minus 12y is equal to 3y plus 5. So the first step where it asks us to do distributive properties, I can't do that. The next step, say combine the like terms that's on the same side of the equation, which is step 2. I can definitely do that. So these two are considered like terms, okay? Why? Because they both share y. So I'm going to combine 10y minus 12y. Again, let me double check and make sure I do my math right. I'm going to hit the blue button on Desmos. I'm going to do 10 minus 12. Remember that the calculator cannot use fractions, but you can add, subtract, and multiply your coefficients. So I got 10 minus 12, which is going to give me a negative 2y. And then this right-hand side, I didn't do anything with, so I'm just bringing it down. So I'm left with 3y plus 5. Step 2 is done. Step 3 said combine variables on the opposite side of the equation by using inverse operations. So now I want to use inverse operation to get all my variables on one side. Since this negative 2y is already on the left-hand side, guys, I'm just going to move to 3y because I don't want to do 2 extra steps. So this is a positive 3. To get rid of it, I need to do the inverse. So this will be subtraction. So again, I would need to get rid of it. So this would be subtracting. So I'm going to subtract negative 3y on both sides. Remember, whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to cancel this positive 3y and negative 3y. Here I have negative 2 minus 3. Since a lot of you guys get these two negatives confused, please make sure you double check and type it in the calculator. So I'm going to hit the blue button to get a new line. And in my calculator, I'm going to do negative 2 minus 3. And it's going to give me a negative 5. So here I'm just combining my like terms or my constants. But in this case, these are my like terms. So I'm left with negative 5y when I combine these two. And then it's equal to, and I'm bringing this 5 down because I haven't done anything with it. It's equal to 5. Now I'm on my very last step. I want to get y by itself. This is multiplication. So the inverse of multiplication will be division. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 5. And so y, in this case, is equal to a negative 1. And I am done with this example. Again, this will be a good time to pause the video so you guys can copy down the notes, copy down the examples in your notes. And again, if you didn't get an opportunity to copy down the first one, I went back. This is a good time to go ahead and pause the video for the very first teacher do example so you can have it in your notes. Please make sure you copy these down in your notes, guys. Okay, last example that I have, and again, stop again. Please make sure you pause the video at this time to copy down the second example if you haven't copied it down yet. All right, here's my last example. I got 6 on the outside of my parentheses, and then it's times 5c minus 3. On the right side of my equation, I have 3 on the outside of my parentheses, and then it's negative 4 plus 9c. So remember, step 1 says that you are going to use distributive properties, which means that I'm going to multiply. Let's go to blue this time. I'm going to multiply each number on the outside of my parentheses to each piece inside using distributive properties. Okay. So I'm doing 6 times 5, which will give me 30. Remember, the C was already there, so I'm just bringing it down. And then I'm doing 6 times a negative 3, which will give me a negative 18. And again, if you're not sure, please make sure you go type this in Jasmine's calculator to double check your answers. And then I have 3 times a negative 4. This will give me a negative 12. And then finally, I have 3 times 9. So again, if you're not sure, go to Desmond's calculator and you can literally type in the operation. So 3 times, okay, 3 times 9, which will give me 27. So this will be plus 27c. So step 1 is complete. Okay. Step 2, it says combine like terms. If they're on the same side of the equation, we don't have any like terms on the same side of the equation, so I can move on to the next step. Step 3 says combine variables on opposite side of the equation by using inverse operations. So that is the next step I'm on, which is step 3. So it's up to you which direction you want to go. I personally prefer my variable on the left-hand side, so I'm going to move the 27c over. And again, the inverse of addition is subtraction. But if you want to go the other way, guys, that's perfectly fine. You should still get the same answer. So this positive and negative 27 will cancel each other out. And then I have 30 minus 27, which will give me just 3c. Now everything else, I'm just bringing down. So I still have negative 18 that I brought down, and I still have the negative 12 that I brought down. Now from here, I am, again, isolating my variable, which is step 4. So I'm going to add 18 on both sides. And again, if you're not sure what the solution is, please make sure you type this in the calculator. I'm going to move this to the left-hand side because I'm running out of space. So I have 3c is equal to, so I have negative 12 plus 18. Again, if you're not sure, go to Desmond's calculator. I hit the blue button to get a new line. Again, I have negative 12 plus 18, which will give me a positive 6. So I got 3c is equal to 6. And then finally, I want to get to the last step, which is isolate this variable, get it by itself. This is being multiplied. The inverse of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And so I'm left with just c is equal to 2. And I am done. So this is how you guys will go through using multi-step equations. And again, I would just go back if you're unsure what step to do. I would go back and look for steps 1 through 5 and figure out which step you need to do next. Okay. And you can just kind of check it off from there. Okay, so the classwork at this point, you guys will already have classwork assignments that I've given out. The classwork is multi-step equations because you are in the orange group, and remember that your groups is based off your assessment data. For the assignment, guys, you're just going to complete the multi-step equation worksheet. I've already given you all the answers, so all you have to do is show your work. And when you finish, you're going to work on the multi-step equation maze, okay? So if you're doing the work online, again, it should look similar to this page that I'm showing on this recording. But if you're doing the work online, you would just use the draw tab. Again, the draw tab is up here at the top, and you can just write your answers in directly from the screen. And again, I've already provided you guys with the answers. You have about 20 questions. Um, all you have to do is go through and show your work. If you are done and you finish with still class time left, then you can go ahead and move on to the multi-step equation maze, which should look like this. If you are completing the work online, again, you can go ahead and just go ahead and draw in, which way to go for this particular maze, and you start up here and you're trying to get to the exit. Once you have finished with all that and you still have class time left, please make sure that you double check and make sure that your Delta Math is complete, which is integers assignments 1, 2, and 3, because some people did not get it finished on Friday. And once you have done all that, guys, you are complete. You have finished the lesson. Overall, great job. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to message me on Verge, send me a message through my email, or you can even ask me during class time, and I should be able to assist you. Have a great day.